10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, drag racing fans, the Competition Plus Power Hour live once again on the Competition Plus platforms. Over there is Darren Williams Jr., the assistant editor for Competition Plus, also aka American Hot Rod Entertainment. Darren, we have another Tuesday, more drag racing to talk about, and some epic racing went down this weekend, and we've got epic racing ahead of us in the world of drag racing.
James Robert Lee Craft.
It's not
Another
Robert, it's
episode.
Roger. It's Roger.
Roger Lee Craft. My bad. Roger Lee
Yep.
Craft. Yeah. Well, actually, it's Riz, but anyways, it's Riz.
Riz,
But,
right,
but,
right.
but that's
right,
that's
yeah.
a story for another day. That's a story for another day.
That's what the R stands for, yeah.
But another episode of the Competition Plus Power Hour. Welcome everybody for tuning in here this evening. And yeah, like you said, a lot of drag racing this past weekend, Memorial Day weekend, PDRA, Funny Car Chaos, Nitro Chaos doubleheader in Eddyville. Ready to break it all down. Plus Epping this upcoming weekend. So let's break it all down.
Yes, so much. And I will say on a weekend that for a while now, people do not think of drag racing, and we're going to get to it. I think Chris Graves might have an event that will continue to build that drag racing will be on the radar, at least when it comes to what many consider to be the greatest weekend in racing with Monaco, the Indianapolis 500, and also the Coca-Cola 600, or what was the World 600 so many years ago. So, spectacular weekend of racing, and drag racing did have representation across the country. And we've seen it, back in years gone past. For example, the Cajun Nationals, if I remember correctly, was actually a Memorial Day weekend event for so long. I mean, you're absolutely insane, I think, to have races during that time down there in that part of the country. But nonetheless, they did. And we had the PDRA in action, as you mentioned. And yes, doubleheader for Nitro Chaos and Funny Car Chaos. Spectacular time. By the way, if you're watching, hit the like button, hit the share button, chime in where you're watching from. But hey, what did you watch this weekend concerning drag racing? Did you hop on flowracing.com, watch PDRA, watch Chaos? Did you happen to go to your local track if they were having anything? Because there were other events. I know there was some nostalgia funny car racing happening across the country. So you also had, I believe, if I remember correctly, Maple Grove had a regional and divisional that was taking place, and there was action there. I know Jackie Frick was in competition and others as well. So plenty of drag racing was happening across the country, even though it might not be the headline motorsports events. Darren, overall, PDRA, Chaos, regional action, nostalgia action, what from the weekend stands out to you as a top moment?
Well, first off, you mentioned the Cajun Nationals, how the NHRA used to race on Memorial Day back at that time. But let's not forget Topeka as well. Heartland Park, Topeka, they raced their Memorial Day weekend as well, and that kind of makes you wonder, why aren't we, racing on Memorial Day weekend? I feel like it's one of those, drag racing is the all-American sport, in my opinion. We race on Labor Day, but why don't we race on Memorial Day or 4th of July weekend and stuff like that? So I would like for us to get back to that, but that's a conversation for another day. But man, I'll tell you what, I was tuned in to Nitro Chaos, Funny Car Chaos, doubleheader out at Eddyville Raceway. Chaos in the cornfield, and I'll tell you what, it lived up to the hype. Chris Graves, we're going to have him on here tonight, and I'll tell you what, those boys and gals out there in Eddyville put on a show.
They did. Certainly looking forward to that, and I'll say a few things on it in a moment or two. It was a spectacular show, and you're right. Yeah, we need to have professional level drag racing up there on these big days and showcasing.
It's the ultimate American sport. Drag racing is ultimate.
I agree. I can agree with that. And the more the better. And let's not just let IndyCar have their day. Let's not just let NASCAR have their day. Let's make it where Monaco gets overshadowed a little bit because Americans are racing. You know what I mean?
Let me throw something out there. So, and everybody watching or people who watch this later might call me crazy, but so the U.S. Nationals, right? We race on Monday, Labor Day, the day you're not supposed to work. What if you don't want to compete with the Indy 500 or Monaco or the World 600, now the Coca-Cola 600, why not race on Monday, Memorial Day? I mean,
I,
I would love that. I would
it's
love. Why not?
it's not, look, it's not that hard. I mean,
Why not?
just just run on Monday. And there are sporting events on Monday. Like there are local tracks that do races on actual Memorial Day. It's not uncommon. It's not unheard of. So it can definitely be a reality. Maybe it should be, and have it as a special event and race on Monday. Have Monday night drag racing. There we go. Monday night drag racing.
Hey man, hey, the Coca-Cola 600 was postponed to Monday, and so why not? Why can't we drag race on Monday? But like I said, this is the third time of me saying this. I feel like drag racing is the all-American sport. Why don't we race on? And like Drag Racing Central mentioned in the live chat, Norwalk on 4th of July weekend, it just fit together. You talk about America's Drag Strip on 4th of July weekend, fireworks, night racing. I mean, it's so great. So I would love to see us go back. Like I said, Topeka. Early 2000s, Topeka, right in the middle of the country. I mean, America. It just screams right. So why not? Let's get back to that. I don't know why.
I
Why we don't.
I agree. And make it a night race while we're at
Make
it.
it a night race. Make it a night
Yes,
race.
make it a
Yes.
night race because I can tell you Topeka can get hot.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Wow.
For sure.
It was very warm, but got in the later part of the day. It was comfortable. Cars were running good. Header flames, drag racing, America. Get the hot dog. Throw in some Cracker Jacks. Sounds like baseball, actually. But nonetheless, get drag racing back on the big days. I agree with that. Well, in drag racing, the PDRA was in action this past weekend, and the Door Slammer centric association, if you will, the Professional Drag Racers Association, they were doing it at, well, a place in which we have just mentioned, the Summit Motorsports Park there in Norwalk, Ohio. And yes, put on a good show. They always put on a good show. You've got Tommy Franklin winning in Pro Nitrous. Johnny Harris winning in Pro Boost, his first win in Pro Boost, from what I understand. And
Nice.
Alan Drinkwater getting it done in Extreme Pro Stock as the headline classes of the PDRA are. And, no shock to Tommy Franklin winning. He can always jump up and get a win, but definitely taking a bite out of some Jim Halsey domination. And Harris in that group, look, they're known as Party Time, and Party Time wasn't on the side of the car here. Well, they certainly had a party winning up there in Norwalk. And Mr. Drinkwater, wow, Extreme Pro Stock. We tend to think of that class as Montecalvo and Placino and Powers, but Drinkwater making a case in a class that has great battles regularly in the PDRA, that they're going to have it again. So they had a great event, and a great place to hold it for sure, venue-wise. And it was a great race, obviously, but it's something where I wonder if the track itself or the PDRA or whatever, what do they have to do, because there was good weather, to make the events well attended. The PDRA has very well attended events at Galat and at Virginia Motorsports Park. And I haven't been to every PDRA venue or race, but you step away from what I would say their home tracks in, like Galat and Virginia Motorsports Park, and sometimes you will see the crowd not be as strong. Now, this is only their third visit to Summit Motorsports Park, so maybe it's a brand that has still got to have time to grow and build in that fan base. But man, would love to see people go and experience the PDRA. It is great drag racing.
Nah, for sure. And you talk about Extreme Pro Stock. I love Extreme Pro Stock. A shout out to those guys. You see them in Chicago the week before, and they come all the way down to Norwalk. So it reminds me of kind of like, with the Funny Car guys in the Heritage Series, you're going to be doing Bristol in a couple of weeks, and then going to the NHRA Nostalgia Nationals in Bowling Green, Kentucky the following weekend. So kind of doing double dip. Me personally, I don't know how to really answer that. For me personally, I've never been able to. I respect all drag racing, all drag racers, but for some reason, PDRA is something I haven't been able to connect with. Yes, I am on the West Coast, so I'm not really exposed to it as much as people in the Midwest and East Coast and stuff like that. I know we talked about it earlier. I know you said they're more catering to the racers rather than the fans. So maybe they have to do something to where, hey, we can, kind of market to both rather than just leaning it one side to more of the racers and not the fans. For me, I don't know really answer that. I haven't been able to personally connect with PDRA. I've tried many times. Not saying it's not great racing, but I've just decided to watch other stuff like NHRA Heritage Series or Big Show NHRA or Funny Car Chaos, stuff like that. So that's a good question. I have to think about that a little more.
There's certain markets they go to that I think are their wheelhouses. Drag Racing Central mentions Darlington. They're returning to Darlington this year. They do have good shows at Darlington and Galat and Virginia Motorsports Park. So there are places that I think they could go run at Rockingham even and have a good show, even though it's that close to Galat. There are places that they do show up and they run well. I think Maryland is another example. But there are other markets, such as Maple Grove. Maple Grove was a tough show for them. Again, there was some weather involved. For whatever reason, the PDRA is plagued with weather somehow. I've seen that a lot. Yeah. I have joked with Will Smith, who is like in charge of marketing, and even Tommy Franklin, been like, you could say that you all are the Professional Drought Relief Association because they do tend to have troubles with weather for whatever reason. But yeah, I think we see across the board with professional drag racing, and I even had this conversation today with Murph McKinney. I was up there at McKinney Corp in Lafayette, Indiana.
Show off. You hear that guy? Show off. I was Murph McKinney. Oh, just
what?
Subtle brag. Subtle brag.
So now I was having this conversation with him that, look, there has to be aspects, even though it's competition, even though it's professional sport, remember it is entertainment. Go to a ballpark. They never stop entertaining you. When the players are running on or off the field, there's music. When there's downtime, they got hot dogs running around the outfield or what. I mean, just they come up with something to keep you entertained throughout the whole entire program. They do it in arenas, whether it's hockey or basketball. And in drag racing, there is an Achilles heel. There's two, I feel. One, you can't really prepare for other than clean it up as quickly as possible, and that is the oil down.
Mm-hmm.
The second, you can limit it, and that is tractor time. I am not a fan of series that have a ton of tractor time. Let's just figure out how to get the cars down the track without the tractor being out there as much as the cars.
Can I say something? I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, right? So you mentioned that. And the only track where I don't mind it, and it's in the fall, is Pomona, because, I've told this to many people. I like when there's a few oil downs here and there, and it gets delayed because you go into the nighttime and you can see header flames, and I'm like, I'm cool with the downtime. But any other track, I'm like, let's hurry this thing up. But nah, and like you said, for the average fan, no, they do not like downtime, oil down, sitting there for long periods of time in the stands in the hot sun. But going back to PDRA, excuse me. Great personalities, cool looking cars. I mean, door slammers, pro stock car, pro mod cars. I mean, pro mods are badass. Who doesn't love pro mod? I feel like my whole perception of it, and that's not a bad perception, but I need to go to one race to really see how amazing it is in person. I haven't been to a Funny Car Chaos race, but I've been to Heritage Series races. I've been to Big Show NHRA races, and that's how I've been able to connect with them. If I go to a PDR race, I'm sure I love it because they got some badass race cars over there, and I love what they're doing.
Yes, there are some very cool cars, very cool people. I think of the Gladiator Pro Mod, for example, or the Sorcerer Pro Mod. I mean, man, the paint on those cars is just phenomenal. And you have all different cast of characters. You've got people like Chris Powers. He don't mind stirring things up and speaking his mind. And then you got the Placinos from Long Island and how they carry themselves. And it is a fascinating group over there. They love their drag racing, and it certainly is good drag racing over there. And what I'm saying is I would love to see them have, as a series, more people in the stands. I get it that series can exist without the fans, I'll say, but I want to see them have people that they're competing for, because some of those individuals, they remember the old ADRL days and what it was like rolling up before packed grandstands. There is something, even when you're at a small venue, to it is packed. It gives an optic that is energizing to a program for sure.
And that's Brian Hall, who drives the Nomad front engine Top Fuel dragster in the Heritage Series, and Sean Van Horn, who also drives Top Fuel. And I've heard this from other nostalgia funny car guys. They don't like running in the big stadiums because they feel like if they do, if it's a independent race outside of Big Show and they're not running with the Big Show, if it's an independent race and they're running at these big tracks, it just kind of just doesn't look right. You know, there's nobody in the stands. It's like they're racing in front of nobody. They like racing in those smaller venues where they pack the grandstands and you see all the people coming in and enjoying it. So I can see it from that aspect as well. They told me personally they do not like racing on big tracks independently because it's just nobody in the stands. They like racing at the smaller venues. Looks like it's more packed and it's more fun racing in front of a crowd as well, is what they told me.
Right. And I feel one of the issues that you're running up against is if you run at a track that has a national event, and this is PDRA, Funny Car Chaos, it is Northeast Outlaw Pro Moto, whatever. If you're going to a track that they have the big professional show, and ladies and gentlemen, that is a NHRA national event, then I think there's a challenge to have a successful event before it or after it or around it because, well, you have a national event. It is just challenging, and you have a fan base built around that and understanding that as drag racing. So we do have Chris Graves come into the green room. We'll be chatting with him in just a few moments. Darren, you mentioned it. You watched it. You mentioned the moment that you liked the most. It was a spectacular drag race there in Eddyville. Chamber of Commerce weather each and every day. Something you did not get to see on the live stream. I wish we could have done it live, but we just literally don't have the tech to do it quite right now. 45 minutes straight of car after car after car warming up. It was absolutely epic, dude.
So how many people did you see in watching that was going like this? Was it clear out? Was it clear out time?
There were some that was definitely clear out time. Look, Chris got cleared out. I got cleared out. We're hacking and dying and trying to film. And it was spectacular. Matter of fact, the crowd was so thick. At Eddyville, the trucks don't park right up on the fence, and you've got a lane that you can go in front of the trucks. I had to use that lane to get into the pits to go film these warm-ups. That's how thick the crowd was. It was as thick as the nitro clouds at some cars.
Dude, I don't know what they put in this nitro today, but it is like anytime now, it is clear out time. Like it's terrible. It's terrible now, but I love it. Everybody loves it. It's, nitro is the greatest thing in the world. But can we talk about that final round between Dale Creasy and Megan Meyer-Linger? That was, if everybody is watching, if you haven't seen the onboard camera from Megan Meyer-Linger's onboard from her dragster, go and take a look at it because it is amazing. You talk about, and I'll tell you what, that Top Fuel Junior right there, I've never seen that much header flames from an A Fuel dragster. That was amazing.
And let me say this again, what a testament to what Chris is doing. Everybody says stuff like this can't work, and he's proving that it can work. Oh, you'd never have a good race between a funny car and that, nitro funny car and an A Fuel dragster. It happened. Mm-hmm. It was a dang good race, and the A Fuel car won. And then, you'll never have an alcohol car beat a nitro car. Dale Worsham, Kyle Smith.
That is a travesty that we just said. A Fuel car beat a nitro funny car. I do not appreciate that.
It's drag racing. It's drag racing.
I know.
It's drag racing, and really the best way. Look, you run what you brung, and hope you brung enough. But whatever you brung, you got to get down the track. A to B.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Dale Creasy, he was pedaling for his life too in the semifinals against Pete Dove. That was a drag race right there too. All around.
Stellar drag race.
I love Funny Car Chaos, but Nitro Chaos is where it's at, man. I love me some Nitro Chaos. It's amazing.
Spectacular show. Spectacular show. Yes. And had everything. We did have one car make the corn, Tim Cullen. Everything was fine. Again, going off the track. If you do it right at Eddyville, it's not that bad. And we did have, though, Mike Newkirk. He decided to attempt the curve in the final round of the A field, but it was going in way too hot. And he's the only drag racer I now know of that has hit the turn 2 wall the wrong way on a circle track.
So what was the difference from Cullinan going in the corn and then Gallegos going in the corn? What was the kind of difference of how they
Well, the
kind
biggest
of both went
difference
in?
is I would say is speed, and possibly Tim got over a little bit more, but Gallegos was carrying a whole lot more speed, and that banking acted like a ramp for him, and he got airborne, a lot of air.
I got you. Okay. Sounds good, man. Yeah, all around. Like I said, I was having fun watching from home. Like Funny Car Chaos put on the show, and we got to talk about it. Feast or famine for the world champion, Kirk Williams. Feast or famine. 2 first-round losses, 1 win. I mean, it's kind of a rocky start for him to start off 2023.
It is very interesting, and the competition has certainly stepped up. What a heartbreak for Jeff Cameron. Qualified number 1, gets past round 1, has a chassis failure in the front end, and isn't able to even make an attempt in the semifinals. But Kirk Williams, and I know that Williams Brothers race team, they are fit to be tied, if you will. That is not how they run. They run consistently strong, and they went out there and blew the tires off right at the hit. There's a bit of controversy, though, around that particular run. We might talk with Chris Graves about that and the decisions made and what all went into it. There was several camera angles put together to figure out what did happen in the other lane with Jesse Clark to make the right call concerning Kirk Williams and his run in round 1. But spectacular drag race. And look, to everyone in competition, I think we had 58 cars overall and like 1 oil down. If that, it was, yeah.
So Lee, fill us in on the other classes that race at Chaos events, because I know obviously there was the Funny Car Chaos and the Nitro Chaos, but there's also like a big tire shootout and some other stuff. Kind of fill us in on those classes as well, because they're pretty cool to watch as well.
They are. And look, you go across the board to any Chaos event, you are going to experience other classes. They're not always the same. Oftentimes they're track specific. A lot of times, the Dirty South Gassers, they're going to tag along with the Funny Car Chaos crowd. But the small tire shootout was very entertaining. Matter of fact, it's out there. You can find it. There's a reel of it. Like in the finals, the 2 cars nearly collided at the finish line going for the win. And there's GoPro footage, onboard footage of that incident. Nearly collided. So they put on a great show. And then there are classes specific to Eddyville Raceway. The Sweet Corn Outlaws is a interesting group. And then there is a group of Superstock, Nostalgia Superstock group. Beautiful cars, man. Beautiful cars that they bring out and they race and they compete in. So you never quite know at a Chaos event, other than the Funny Cars and the Nitro Chaos side of things, what might be there. Oftentimes it's track specific, but they put on a stellar show as well. And oftentimes there's jet cars and more there. It is certainly a good show. And I will say this, I have yet to see anything come across social media negative about what happened at Eddyville Raceway. From competitor, from spectator, rave reviews on what happened there in the cornfields of Iowa.
Man, and I'll tell you what, for Chris Graves, that's a heck of a deal to do a doubleheader like that. Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos, same weekend, just Nitro everywhere. And from what you told me, you guys want to make this a tradition. Like you guys want to come back every Memorial weekend and make this a staple on Memorial Day weekend, like I just said. So I got to get out to one, man, because like I said, what you guys are doing, you guys put on the show, and it's different, and I like it. I watch them on Flow, but I got to experience it personally as well. Don't do that.
This was the one you said
don't do that.
you were going to make.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Right?
I knew you were going there.
Right.
I knew you were going there. Hey, life happens, all right? Stuff happens.
Yeah, life happens.
Stuff happens.
Yeah, a lot of life can happen. That's right, man. A lot of life.
It's easy for the guy who lives on that side of the country to get there easily. I'm all the way.
I do not live on the Iowa side of the country. It's in the middle of the country from South Carolina.
Iowa is not in the middle of the country. It's like more towards the east.
It's
in the Midwest.
The Mississippi.
It's Midwest, but it's more East Coast. Like I'm all the way in Los Angeles, California.
Wow, you need to look at a map, son. You need to look on a map.
It's closer to you than it is to me.
Okay, I can give you that. I can give you that. I can give you that. It's called Delta or Southwest.
That is true. Yes.
Or American. Okay.
And I'm a little too high maintenance, being in the middle of nowhere. Just I'm joking. I'm really joking. I'm joking.
Dang.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Dang.
I'm joking.
All
I'm
right.
joking. No,
All
for
right.
real talk. I got to get the one though for sure. Because like I said, it looked great on Flow Racing. I gotta get some one for sure. Because I love me some Nitro Chaos. It's cool.
And look, hey, shout out to Warren Evans. The flow stream was on point. More angles.
Yeah.
It looked good. He added in like this ticker of social media things, and I mean,
that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Like you could do Eddie Chaos and see your post. I mean, it was neat. It was neat. So
and the national anthem, man, that was just loud. I had to take my headphones. I was like, damn, they pumped up the volume for the national anthem. I was like, whoa, it's Memorial Day weekend. It's the way it's supposed to happen. America.
Bingo. America. Well, look, we're going to take a break, ladies and gentlemen. Right after the break, Chris Graves, promoter, owner of Funny Car Chaos, Nitro Chaos, and just chaos overall, here next on the Competition Plus Power Hour. Weldon High Performance. Hey, they pump the show.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we were to have Tim Wilkerson on the show first, but he's a bit under the weather, not able to make it. So we bring on Chris Graves now to the Competition Plus Power Hour. Chris, good to see you. I'm going to check out, Darren. You got it, right?
I got it, man. I got it. I got a lot of questions for Chris tonight. I just want to say that. Because I tell you, what he put on this weekend was amazing.
It was. It absolutely was. And I'm glad I was a part of it. So thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I got a question.
Oh, gosh.
Where were you at, Darren?
So originally the plan was to go from Chicago for the Route 66 Nationals to Iowa. And, me and Lee kind of split hotel fares and everything like that. But he bailed on me in Chicago, so that kind of ruined all the plans and everything like that. So it's Lee's fault, actually. It's Lee's fault.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could have came to the Motorplex.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
One of these days.
One of these days. One of these days for sure. One of these days for sure.
Well, let's talk chaos. What you boys got?
Well, first off, I want to start this thing off because, like I said, what you put on this past weekend, was amazing. Nitro Chaos, Funny Car Chaos, Chaos on the Cornfield, doubleheader. For you come up with some crazy and great ideas in your career. How cool is it to see, things that you envision actually play out right in front of you and put on a successful event like you did this past weekend? How cool is that?
I mean, cool. I don't know the word, making those things happen is crazy, but it's certainly not just me. There's a team behind us at all these tracks, these track owners we work with, my staff at Chaos, my wife. But it's amazing. Like, the pass that got me this weekend was the one I put a picture of on Facebook was Mitch King and Del Creasy side by side. Those are two teams that I worked for 15 years ago that are two of my dear friends. And here they are running their Nitro Funny Car side by side at a Chaos race. And it's very cool. At the moment, I try to make sure I smell the roses while it's going on because there's so much constant action and things going on at these races. It's hard to just kind of sit back and enjoy it. But I tried very hard to do that this weekend because this weekend was one of those special ones for sure.
Speaking of special things, I do want to talk about one car in particular that I think, though it didn't qualify, was of a fan interest for sure and could say almost stole the show. We had a non-Scott Palmer door car on Nitro. What did you think about that one, Chris?
That's my new favorite race car right now. Yeah. Mr. Fangman's got my vote. I talked to him a lot this weekend. I actually already recommended him for a match race today at another track. So, and I told him that. I said, dude, I'm going to blow your phone up because I get calls for match races all the time. Who do I need to book? Who do I need to book? Andy Fangman. If you own a drag strip, Andy Fangman, the Nitro Pro Mod, it's totally awesome. He made 3 really good runs, all very consistent runs, clean runs, A to B, wide open the whole time, flames up. That hot rod is bad, man. I mean, they whack it on the warm up, they whack the throttle. That's the first time ever in history. I don't know, Palmer's probably done it, but first time I've ever seen a throttle whack on a Nitro Pro Mod. I did actually get a video of that. I got some videos we'll put up this week, but that car is bad. It's black. It's a Camaro. It's got flame. I mean, you saw the photos, but those of us that got to see it in person going down the track, it's a bad machine.
Nah, and obviously, I know it was real cool to see it in person, but it was also cool to see it, on floor racing, watch it from home. But I know it's nothing; it doesn't beat seeing it actual in person. One thing that I love, and I love Funny Car Chaos too. But like I was telling Lee earlier, I love me some Nitro Chaos. You got AA Field Dragsters, AA Field Alters, Funny Cars, everything in Nitro Chaos. Is there any plans to maybe expand, maybe next year, maybe more races, probably get bigger car counts for next year? Because I want to see Nitro Chaos grow as much as it can because I love it.
More doubles. More doubles.
More doubles too, yes. More doubles too.
The double deal seems to be pretty popular. Unfortunately for me and the track owners, the double means double the payout, so it's extremely expensive. But we did announce the renewal of the Memorial Weekend date for Eddyville next year right off the bat yesterday morning. Just a brief discussion with Gerald Kramer there at Eddyville Raceway Park, who I must give credit, co-birthed Nitro Chaos with me. I had Nitro Chaos on paper for a few years before the first Nitro Chaos at Eddyville Raceway Park in 2021. Gerald called me. He said, hey, man, I want to do an all-Nitro race. I said, well, let me send you an email. I've already got this all typed out. He goes, let's do that. So anyway, props to Gerald. That's why we really, really wanted to do this race at Eddyville. Moving forward, yes, there's going to be growth. There's no doubt. Bringing back Andy Fangman again. He barely missed the field. He made 3 420 runs in a row and barely missed the 16-car show. We had 24 cars there. We need marketing partner help to get a C field guaranteed next season. If we can guarantee a C field next season, just like Funny Car Chaos has, we will qualify 24 cars at every race because there are more cars coming, and we want to cater to them all, obviously. But it takes cubic dollars to do that. So. In the growth phase of Nitro Chaos, priority number 1, guarantee funding for the C field in 2024. Amount of events, I don't know if we'll go crazy. 8 or 9 Funny Car Chaos races and 4 or 5 Nitro Chaos races is about all the chaos that I can do. And oversaturation, I have a strong belief that less is more. And so, and that's, if you talk to the Nitro Chaos racers that are running for points this year, that's why they're running for points. They said, I can do 4. I can't do 8. So that low number of events makes it work. It makes the car count sustainable. It makes the committing to the 4 events something that these racers can do, because these are budget racers. I mean, yeah, Randy Meyer's got 3 8-field dragsters there, and he's got drivers paying to drive them and all that. But there are plenty of other teams on the property there that are just like me and you, and they got to be back at work on Tuesday morning in this case. And they're thrashing, spending their late hours repairing cars and stuff. So anyway, 5 events, probably max. Totally focused on being able to expand to a C field, 24 cars qualifying at all the races next year is my top right now, because at Funny Car Chaos, that's been a huge move, and that's going to need to happen in Nitro Chaos for us to go long-term here and still be able to cater to all the cars that are trying to run and have fun and come chase points.
5 races max for a series like this, I think, is great, and it keeps the championship battles that much better too towards the end of the season. So I can agree with that. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of championship battles, it's already heating up in both series, Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos. Number 1 and 2 in points in Nitro Chaos out round 1. Megan Meyer has a great day. Gary Wheeler Jr. continues to go to final rounds. And you also have Pete Dove, which, if I remember correctly, points goes with the driver, right?
In this case, this year, the points can be assigned to the car or driver. And
Okay.
yeah, so
Oh,
that was Jody Austin's major motivation there in Ohio. Of
Oh.
course, that didn't work out for him first round either at Eddyville. So yeah, first round at Eddyville was crazy town. There was upset after upset after upset, and we're gonna get the points done tomorrow. We literally pulled in the driveway 3 hours ago. So I mean, I haven't even taken a shower, but we've got Levi to bed. We've got the truck unpacked here, and points are the first thing on the list for tomorrow. I don't know how they're going to shake out, but it's going to be interesting. Next Funny Car Chaos in 3 weeks at Cordova. Going to be crazy. Over 30 cars, a lot of nitro cars coming as well. And the next Nitro Chaos, Megan and Gary should be at the top. I think Gary might have maybe, I don't know. I shouldn't say. It's going to be tight. It's going to be close. It's going to be fun.
For sure. Hey, what do you think right now, Kirk Williams? Some struggles out of the Williams brothers camp at the moment. They are obviously not leading the points. Alex Barker, Seafield, deep field competitor, leading the way and had a decent Eddyville.
Yeah, that was a big. I mean, that was a big call there. But Lee and I and Scott Gardner and Warren Evans all put our heads together there and reviewed every piece of tape we had, which of course Warren had a full arsenal of angles to look at, and of course you got the wall to inspect. Tough call, but that was our conclusion was that the other car crossed the finish line before he hit the wall. So that's what we went with. Very tough call. Kirk is a fantastic racer, obviously a very full-time Chaos supporter. At his hometown race, struggled right off the bat off the trailer. They shook on the Friday night test. I believe they shook on at least one of those other qualifying runs. It was surprising because those boys know what they're doing and they're very consistent and they're very hard running cars. So I'm not sure what they're doing, but who knows? They might have changed something over the winter that we don't know about. Maybe we'll have to get them on the between the slicks and find out.
Oh shoot, I think Lee might be frozen. Yeah, he's frozen up there. So you mentioned Lee, you there? Anyway, he'll come back. But I mean, you mentioned the world champ, Kirk Williams, 2 first-round losses so far to start the season, got a win. So kind of feast or famine for him. But going to Nitro Chaos now, you have Megan Meyer-Linger and then Rachel Meyer-Curl. They face off in the semifinals, which was a great drag race. I believe Rachel's parachute fell out right before the finish line. And then I want to get your thoughts on that final round between Megan and Dale Creasy, because that was a great final. Like I talked about, the onboard was amazing. And I've never seen that much flame out of an A-Field dragster. Your thoughts on that final round? Because it was amazing.
Yeah, man, that final round, dude. There was goosebumps everywhere. Hair was standing up on everybody's arms. The fumes were thick. There was no wind at that time, man, and the whole starting line was choked out. You've got 2 totally completely different type of race cars. They're both running in the threes, deep into the threes. Dale Creasy Jr. has been driving funny cars for 30 years, multi-time champion. Megan Meyer's been driving forever, and she's a multi-time champion. Just awesome. Drag race was on par. Everybody knew it. She left first. He had a great light for a nitro funny car. Looked like he got towards the center line a little bit, and you can see that in her video as well. That onboard is awesome. They've done something. Randy's a talented man, and he's got something going on in those headers, I believe, that add to the flame show, which they admit that they are trying to figure out, which I'm all about, of course, because that's entertainment for the fans. But yeah, what a final. I think Peanut had her. There's an aerial view. Phil Landrum's got an aerial view from a drone that Peanut's out front, and he had to lift a little bit. And I mean, just by a corn husk, she nipped him in the lights as soon as he lifted. It was close, man. But what a great way to close off the weekend. There was a lot of races like that. There was a lot of races that were very close. It was again, I try to sit back and enjoy what's going on while all the chaos surrounds me, but it was a great way to close it off. I talked at length with Creasy after the race. Those guys had so much fun. He said it reminded them of the old NHRA days, which is the time when I was lucky enough to work on that team back in like 07, 08. And it did feel like that. And that's what all the chaos races feel like. And that's what, that I experienced that with them. And so that helped me learn, what it needs to feel like, how to make it fun, how to have that vibe. There was a vibe, at this weekend at Eddyville. That warm-up chaos got us started. The Friday night test was great, but warm-up chaos on Saturday set the bar, set the vibe, set the tone, and it remained that way all the way to the end. It was awesome, but that final round was awesome. Peanut and them had a great time. I bet you that's not the last time we see them at a chaos race.
Now I tell you what, that 340 they laid down in qualifying was badass, and he was the Grand Marshal as well, right? Dale Creasy was.
Yes, and he's
So
also our newest member of the 340 club from Dove Fuels.
So I gotta ask you, be honest, Chris. Be honest. So I know as a series owner, series promoter, you gotta be biased. But were you rooting for Creasy in that final round? You can be honest.
I won't tell anybody I wasn't. I mean, he's my boy. I mean, he gave me a huge opportunity in my life to go crew on his car. Absolutely, I was rooting for Creasy. We love Megan. We love Randy. We love the Myers. We're very glad to have them racing with us. But I wanted to see my boy put it in the winner's circle. But it's all good, man. What a drag race. Congratulations to Megan. Congratulations to all the winners. But yeah, I think we're going to see Peanut again.
Nah, and I want to see him back out there because, like I said, put on a great show. Number one qualifier goes to the final round. Definitely would love to see him back out there. You mentioned something earlier. You just got home, so you haven't done the points yet. For you, I can see like this has almost been kind of fun when you sit down and actually calculate the points. Do you ever sit there and be like, you get to one guy and you see kind of struggling and goes, whoa, he dropped real bad, or you see another guy wins, like, whoa, he jumped all the way up. Do you kind of have fun, kind of calculating those points and seeing where everybody pans out at the end of the weekend? I can see how that could be kind of fun.
I love knowing I love knowing who's doing what before everybody else does. Yeah, doing the points is great. It's a lot of fun. My wife handles all of that, so she'll usually update me pretty quick. But oh yeah, crunching the numbers is great. We do have a drop race in Funny Car Chaos, and that's always kind of fun towards the end of the year to start plugging that drop in and seeing how things shift, especially with 2 races left to go. But oh yeah, doing the points is fun. It's exciting.
I bet.
Chris, we'll take a question from Andrew Osterhaus, and it is a wide question concerning the future, but what's next step for Funny Car Chaos in particular? We talked a little bit about Nitro Chaos, but in particular, Funny Car Chaos, what's the next step?
Well, we announced 2 big steps this year going into this season, expanding the year-end payout from top 5 to top 10 and doubling the money from $10,000 to $20,000. I think at the end of the day, there's still it takes money to run these cars. It takes money to put them in put the hotels up and the diesel to get there and all of that. So finding additional marketing partners to help pay those top 10 finishers, to help pay event purses, to bump the money up in the C field, maybe, which we also did for this year. I like where Funny Car Chaos is at. I think it can idle for a year or 2 and be just fine. Nitro Chaos is going to steal a little bit of the priority there, again, because we're trying to find a C field to run 24 cars at those events. But, if we can find some additional marketing partners to help pay more of these racers more money, that's what the bottom line is, because that's how it gets them to and from the racetrack, And so without the racers, we ain't doing nothing. So putting diesel in their trucks and putting cash in their back pockets so they can buy them parts they have to wait on, because parts are hard to find, and they got to get them ordered because they got to wait. There should have been 4 or 5 more cars at Eddyville, but parts attrition has been delaying. Everybody knows that. But we would have had 60 cars there had people not been waiting on parts.
And you mentioned that. I mean, this wasn't a parts issue, but you talk about Jim Gifford. He was supposed to make Edgewater, I believe, right? He was supposed to go to Edgewater, but couldn't make it, and so he comes to Eddyville and wins it. So I think that's a great storyline as well. For Jim Gifford. Absolutely.
Yeah, 370 bracket car right off the trailer. I think that was his 6th, 7th, and 8th and 9th runs ever in that car. And I talked to him yesterday. He called me, said thank you for everything, and he had a blast. And Skippy was tuning it for him, and he's always a good guy. And we're going to see more of the Svengali for sure. They got to be pretty psyched. I think there's a brief discussion already about coming to Cordova. So he's gonna. Those funny cars have got it made. They can run both.
Right.
Yeah, true. That is true.
They can. Yeah. They can. And
that's what I told Creasy. I said, man, you can run any of them. Come on.
That's bingo. And I will say, Jim, his top end interview, it might be my favorite. He was definitely a happy dude, popping out of the hatch like he was, pop goes the weasel and arms up in the air. So I'm looking forward to that one for sure. And with the chat itself, Terry asks, this is an interesting question, and I think definitely thinking kind of NHRA line, but we are losing a lot of tracks overall. He does ask, what will happen to Funny Car Chaos if we keep losing tracks? I don't think Chaos has really that issue compared to other series out there.
No, I think we're in good shape. We don't target the NHRA national event tracks. We're blessed to be able to race at the Texas Motorplex. But, the grassroots tracks are where our program fits the best. It visually presents itself the best. It gives the fans a taste of a mini national event type scenario. So, yeah, I think we're safe on that. It's a shame to see these drag strips going away. All of them, every one of them that closes is heartbreaking for everybody. But, it's not, let's not focus on that. There are things going on in this sport that are leading to many, many years of success. And I think, thankfully, we're blessed enough to say that Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos are both two of those things. But there's a lot going on in this sport. Owning a drag strip's not easy. It's expensive. It's not a $1 million money-making situation, or we would have many more being built right now. I can tell you that to be a drag strip owner this day and age is a big commitment, and I admire everybody who owns a drag strip. We work with many of them throughout the country. It is not an easy thing to do. It is a full-time job. It's a stressful situation. It's absolutely a tough thing to do. So to see the drag strips go, it's just the evolution, housing developments and industry and big business. But, tracks like Eddyville Raceway are not going to face that issue. They're not being surrounded by neighborhoods. They're not being surrounded by Amazon warehouses. So, God bless Gerald Kramer and all the other tracks that are out there that are in a safe geographical area. I think is the biggest issue they face is their land is becoming worth more than their drag strip. But yeah, we're good to go. We've got a lot of great tracks, and there's plenty more out there that are going to be operating for many years to come. And this sport's bright. There's a whole new generation of things going on, and I'm just going to do my best to keep a little bit of the traditional value still alive. And we're gonna run nitro cars and funny cars and just try to have fun.
And the series is doing something, as you mentioned, positive, that it's bringing that national event feel to tracks that have been overlooked for very long periods of time, such as even now the last race of the year for Funny Car Chaos, State Capitol Raceway. It has that impact.
Yeah, that's another fine example. We can't wait to get to Baton Rouge. Those people are starving. I mean, that article came out that maybe there's going to be one and no problem. That's great. I hope there is. I mean, if they do, that's going to be a wonderful venue for NHRA to have a national event. Now that Baytown's gone, we were gonna absolutely rock the house down there in April. That rain out killed it, but we can't wait to go back in September. But yeah, that's a prime example of another facility that's doesn't appear to be going anywhere anytime soon. They're not facing any kind of big business moving in, full of history and a great market. And they're hungry. Those guys, those people down there haven't had a nitro fix since Chaos last year, like 15, 20 years since then, So, it's a good time for drag racing. Everybody kind of focuses on some of the negative stuff, but there's a lot of positive. And there's tracks being built right now. And there's also tracks spending a lot of money to upgrade and repair things. I mean, you can be a drag strip owner and sit back and not spend any money at all, but several of the tracks we race at have spent upwards of $100,000 in the past 2 or 3 years installing walls, repouring, regrinding, and new staging lanes, new return roads, new lights, new PA systems, new timing systems, backup timing systems, new bathrooms. All of those things have happened at Chaos venues in the past 3 years, and I bet you it all adds up to $1 million if you combine them all. So it's all good. We're gonna have fun. Drag racing is in good shape.
And I'll be honest. So as long as I've been a drag racing fan, I've been a drag racing fan all my life. You guys have put these tracks on the map because I didn't even know what Eddyville was until Funny Car Chaos. So I just want to say that, and I'm envious because in the Midwest and the East Coast, there's a lot of these smaller grassroots type tracks. But where I live, the closest track to me is 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away in Bakersfield, California. And basically where I'm going with this is I like the season ending in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, but I just want to kind of get your thoughts on why you kind of went away from the Texas Motorplex ending the season and then having like that combination with the Stampede of Speed.
Sure. It wasn't my decision entirely.
Okay.
We talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. At the end of the day, the Stampede of Speed's an amazing production. and it takes an amazing amount of time and effort to plan and execute everything that goes on there. I think trying to go to the well 2 weekends in a row at any racetrack's pretty much suicide. I mean, that just really doesn't happen. And we were trying to do that. So to expect a capacity crowd for Funny Car Chaos the weekend before a national event, yeah, we tried it. Didn't quite get there. I mean, we had a decent crowd, but we would like to have seen more. But you can't expect, you can't expect 3,000 or 4,000, 5,000 people to come out the weekend before a national event. That's just, people don't have that much time off. People don't have that much spare income. People don't have that much time. So going to Baton Rouge is exciting. We love the Motorplex. I'm working on confirming our date for next year. They got the Texas 2K now, from Baton Rouge, from Baytown. They're going to do in March. So I'm looking for the last weekend in March. I talk to those guys and gals at the track regularly. So we love the Plex. It's all good. The Stampede's going to kick ass no matter whether we're there or not. So, the Stampede of Speed is another prime example of growth in modern drag racing right now. And it's not going to go anywhere. So props to the team there, Christy and DeMarcus and Eric and everybody at the Plex. We were looking forward to coming back in March, but I'll be at the Stampede of Speed anyway. I mean, it's right down the road. Come on.
Well, NHRA wanted to schedule the newly named NHRA Nostalgia Nationals in Bakersfield, the season finale, the same weekend as the national event and the Stampede of Speed. So, I mean, I got it. So, I mean, I don't know why they did that, but yeah, I'll be in Bakersfield that weekend. So, yeah, I'm excited about that, but I would love to go back to the Texas Motorplex. So, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Don't understand it.
Baton Rouge. How about Baton Rouge?
When is Baton Rouge? When is that?
We need to get him at Baton Rouge.
What's the date?
Yeah, he can come to Baton Rouge. I don't know, Chris. He he's a SoCal boy. He might not be able to handle Southern Louisiana. I don't know. He might not.
He ain't eating no crawfish, man.
They might eat him alive. You never know.
Chris, I got a question for you. Do you put sugar or salt in your grits?
Oh gosh.
Sugar or salt on what?
In your grits. Which one? Sugar or salt?
Grits. I'm not sure what grits is. I'm a Southern boy. I should know, but I'm gonna say sugar. I'm not very sweet. I need all the sugar I can get.
There we go. I like it. Oh, okay. But Lee, if I come to Louisiana, chicken fried steak, man, I got to get it. Chicken fried steak.
Well, okay, we can find that for you, but that's not quite what you eat in Louisiana, especially that part of Louisiana.
I don't eat seafood, so I can't do it.
Is crawfish a seafood? I don't know. Isn't it like
It's
river
fish.
food? No.
I don't know.
Crawfish, mud bugs.
Yeah, that's right. It's like you're putting them in a category they don't deserve.
I'm sorry it's getting dark on me, guys. My internet's awful, and I have to come outside to make sure I don't buffer, and it's getting dark on me.
You're good, man. You're good. We're about to let you go anyway, and you can rest up from what was an epic weekend at Eddyville Raceway Park and what will be an epic weekend in 2024. So, no, you don't have to just go to Charlotte or Indy for racing on Memorial Day weekend. You can go to Little Iowa for reasons that you truly can fathom, because Nitro cars will be there at Eddyville Raceway Park in 2024 with the chaos in the cornfield. Man, look, I know we talked about future of Nitro chaos, future of Funny Car chaos. I mean, will we ever see like pro stock truck chaos or pro stock chaos at this point? Like, what else is out there? What else is on the mind of Chris Graves for drag race? Because, I mean, we're talking about, Pro Mod versus Fuel Altered. We're talking about nostalgia series that you've been a part of, and now all the chaos. Like, what is? I mean, can we do jet car chaos? Can that work? What is next out there?
Well, go to jetcarchaos.com. You'll see what's up. It forwards to Funny Car Chaos because I already bought the domain name. Yeah, Jet Car Chaos is right up there. And I also want to bring back the Pro Mod Fielder Showdown, and I'm already talking to a track in Texas about doing that next year. But yeah, there's all kinds of chaos. Jet Car Chaos. There was another one I thought of the other day. Oh no, I know what I want to do, and I've talked to Wes Buck about this already. He's got the World Series of Pro Mod. We got Funny Car Chaos. Yeah, we've done Pro Mod versus Fuel Altered, and that was 10 years running. I told Wes Buck, you call me when you're ready. We're going to do Pro Mod versus Funny Car.
Ooh. Okay.
No rules. Pro Mod versus Funny Car. Come get it. I don't want to hear about leaving on buttons and weight limits and blah, 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 blah. There's no rules. Pro Mod versus Funny Car. West Buck, bring it on.
Yes, there
Wow.
it is. There
Wow.
it is.
He's my boy. He'll like it.
There it is.
I like it. I like it.
That's the new one we should do. We should do that. We should get that done.
I like it. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I
We
like
should get that done.
Yeah, get that done. Get that done.
Yeah. Hey,
All right.
guys, thank you so much for the opportunity. I've got to thank Twisted Shifters, 360 Steel, Stanky Motorsports, Spell Paving, Wolf Pumps, DMP Awnings, McKinney Motorsports, CP Carrillo, Fat Tires Apparel, Excel Drywall, and Performance Motor Coaches. I'm sorry, I got to plug my boys and girls that make this thing go down the road. Those are the people that are helping us secure these payouts, guarantee these payouts, and pay these racers and put on these shows for these fans. So thank you to all the Chaos supporters. Thank you to all the Chaos fans. Thank you to all the Chaos tracks. Scott Gardner, Gerald Kramer, my wife, everybody, Lee, Warren, James, all the photographers, everybody kicks ass. We all did a great job, and Eddyville was a special weekend. So thank you everybody who had a hand in it.
Well, Chris, look, we thank you for your time. Go ahead, get all unpacked, rest up, get ready to go for the next event, and we will let you go on this. Darren, I think if there's a peak performer, Chris Graves leading the way in drag racing in many ways for us all. Thanks,
Yes,
Chris.
sir.
Thank you, guys. See you later.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it P. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze, and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.
Dude, so actually, I just checked it, and Jet Car Chaos
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing. It goes
Really?
to the Funny Car Chaos page, but he did not lie. He has the domain name.
So basically, what you're saying is this is pretty much in the works, and it's probably going to happen at some point in the near future. This is happening.
Look at what else has already happened.
Have you ever stood on a starting line with a jet car?
Yes.
How
Dude.
was that? You're crazy. How was that?
It's pretty warm. You get blasted. I stood and filmed.
Yeah, you crazy, bro. I'm not doing that. But anyways,
Dude, have you seen the camera angles I provide for Flo?
yeah, I saw. Not this wasn't with Flo, but I saw when he almost got ran over at the Texas Motorplex as well. So by Brad Tuttle. So,
that was testing, Brad. Yeah, he got
Yeah,
a poke tire, and yeah, that was close. That was close.
hey, before we move on from chaos, I want to give a shout out to Joseph Gallegos. Won a round in his new baby blue AA.
Dude, they ran good.
Yeah, real consistent all weekend. I had him on Kings of the Sport a couple weeks ago. Great young kid. It's crazy I'm calling a kid because he's younger than me. I feel old, but bought that car with his own money. And put it together over the past couple of years, and has little help from his dad, Dave Gallegos, the legend. So I know he's helped him quite a bit, but I mean, this has been all him. So I want to give a shout out to Joseph Gallegos, great young kid, and got around wind, and much success to him in the future.
And I think that has to feel good for the whole family to have a good day at Eddyville, because the last time they were there, it was not a good day for the Gallegos family. And I talked to Dave Gallegos. He said business is going good, and they are working on the funny car, and we can expect it out during summer or late part of the season, but it's getting there. Their last trip to Brownsburg before going over to Edgewater, they were able to finally get some of the final pieces for that Nitro Clown funny car to come back out. So we should see him later this year.
I say they have that old Matt Hagen Smithfield body.
Yes, it works out, though. It looks very clownish, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It looks good. It looks good. I like it. So can't wait to see Dave Gallegos find well that Big Show Nitro funny car. That's going to be cool.
That's going to be good. Yes, it's going to be good to see that. And look, there are a lot of people out there, it seems like, with Chaos in particular, they wonder what the heck's going on. And then they come and they taste it. They experience it. And they realize this is real. But people are doing it differently and for the right reasons. And yeah, I'm sure after Creasy and gang being there, we're going to see them again. And it's just like Todd Bruce, the Bull. They kind of showed up at Edgewater. They didn't know what to expect, but man, they're back in Eddyville, and I expect them to be back for the next Nitro Chaos. They were surprised at the payout and even made note that, wow, if there were more races like this, we might not even bother with NHRA.
Mhm.
So Chris is making a way in drag racing where people can go drag race, enjoy it, get some exposure, and, well, be respected.
And if you're Todd Bruce and any other competitor in Nitro Chaos, Funny Car Chaos, but it's specifically in Nitro Chaos, it's 2 races in so far. If you've been to these 2 races, let's go to the last 2 because I mean you're pretty much in that championship hunt already. So and here's the thing too. So you mentioned Todd Bruce, and obviously the A field cars are dominating in Nitro Chaos so far here in 2023. Todd Bruce actually beat Megan Meyer in the final round to get his one and only NHRA national event win back in 2017. Texas Motorplex is where he got it. So that's a cool little full circle moment right there. Now they're racing in Nitro Chaos. So I think that's pretty cool.
It is. And they have a very competitive car. I know people, they want to look at Megan and go, oh, she's going to win it. That's not the case. There are so many competitive cars out there in Nitro Chaos. And it's been proven. You go back to the first Nitro Chaos that Megan and Julie were at, the few alters were right there with them. If Kevin Kinsley did not red light, Megan Meyer might not have won that race. It might have very well been a Kevin Kinsley race that weekend at MoCam. It is extremely competitive how the 8-car fields run what you brung scenario works out. I see it every chaos event.
Mm-hmm. And so are we still calling them Meyer or is it now officially Linger and Curl now? Because remember I texted you, I was like, who's Linger and Curl? I was like, oh, these are the Meyer sisters. And no, and that's a conversation for another day. What I really meant to say was, how about Megan and Rachel hiking the front ends up, like Mike Dunn used to say, hiking the front end up on the starting line, like when they hit the throttle. I mean, that was
Rachel had that one selling. Man, it was selling for sure.
Man, I'll tell you what, that was cool. That was cool to see. And Gunk Racing, you know, kind of like Megan in the white car and then Rachel in the black car going side by side in the semifinals. Rachel's parachute falling out just before the finish line. Megan gets the win. Yeah, man, like I said, Nitro Chaos. And what opens up to these upsets and everything like that is, you know, it's run what you brung. There's no rules. And it goes to the 8th mile. So you have to be that much more consistent on the starting line, getting your car to the 8th mile. I mean, it just opens up to so many more things you don't know what's going to happen. So it's some great racing. You know, obviously, I'm more prone to 1,000-foot to quarter-mile racing, but you know, I'm getting into the 8th mile thing. I'm coming around.
Yeah, just, you know, one, you have to be good on the tree because there's no room to catch someone. And let's think about 1,000 foot. If it was 1,000 foot or a quarter mile, Creasy probably wins that race. He's probably able to pedal it, bring it back to the groove, and get around Megan. But 8th mile is such a leveler out there in drag racing. And it makes it where if you pedal once, if you're not back on it, no matter what type of car we're talking about, you are in trouble. You've got to cut a light, and it's got to go A to B.
Yeah. And Corey Lee, who he drives the Peddler Nostalgia Funny car in the Heritage Series. Him and his car owner Gary Turner were actually thinking about going to Albuquerque, New Mexico for that Funny Car Chaos race. And he said, he was like, hey man, when you're going 8th mile racing, you have to be that much better on the Christmas tree, because if you're not, like, you know, that shorter distance, you know, somebody can get you. And that's, like I said, that's why we open up to so many more upsets in the series and everything like that. And I love it. And the points, like I said, number 1 and 2 in points in Nitro Chaos went out first round. So that just opens it up even more. Levi Keenan and Todd Bruce out first round. So I believe if Gary Wheeler's points leader, right?
I would imagine, yes, that Gary Wheeler is the points leader the way they would tally up because he made 2 final round appearances in the B field. And remember, B and A field are competing for the same championship. You had number 1 in the points, Levi Keenan, in the B field, number 2 in the points, Todd Bruce, in the A field. They both go out competing for the same championship. Opens up the door, certainly, for a Gary Wheeler Jr. and Megan Meyer and others. So, because, you know, this first Nitro Chaos Championship is going to be a fascinating run, and I'm sure it's going to go down to the wire there in Oklahoma.
So let's talk a little A Fuel funny car, if we should, you know, little A Fuel funny car. Julie Natus, who also drives, you know, for Randy Meyer Racing, in the NHRA, top alcohol drag for A Fuel, driving the A Fuel funny car this past weekend. How did she do in Eddyville at the doubleheader Chaos in the Cornfield? How did she do? Just
There
curious.
is
Just curious.
there is certainly a mystique around nitro injected funny cars for whatever reason. And by the way, again, I have said this many times, that is not a new combination. In fact, it is an old combination. My dad with Gene Cromer, they ran an injected nitro funny car back in the mid 60s. But it just went away as superchargers came along. But with Randy Meyer's interest and where he's at, I think, just in life and in the sport, and wanted something to experiment with. Granted, also remember Todd Barker, Alex Barker's dad, who Alex Barker is the points leader in Funny Car Chaos. He also has a nitro injected funny car. It's a Corvette body. But so, again, not uncommon. Well, apparently it's parked for the season, that ride that Randy Meyer was fielding. They kicked a rod, strangely, like in the shutdown area. Run was complete. They did have a tough weekend, but kicked a rod, and Randy just mentioned, hey, he's got parts on order, keyword there, order, and they're going to focus on the dragsters. Right now, you look at it, you've got this project with the funny car, and Julie Natus is leading the points lead on the NHRA side of top alcohol dragster competition, and you have Megan Meyer competing for a championship with just 2 races to go in the first run in the championship for Nitro Chaos. So going to focus on the dragsters.
Gotcha. And, you mentioned, A-Field funny cars. I know Mike Steele, who races in NHRA Top Alcohol funny car, he has an injected nitro funny car. And from your show Between the Slicks, it's now, I've heard that, well, Sean Bellemere said it himself that the Killer Bees, Bartone and them, they're going to be coming out with the injected nitro funny car pretty soon. Am I correct?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I asked Murph McKinney today when I was at the shop that, hey, where is the Bartone Brothers chassis for the injected car? And he's like, oh, they already got it. So that has been built. They've got it. They're buttoning it up, putting it together. Will we see it out this year in any shape, form, or fashion in competition? I don't think so. Sean Bellemere is only 1 point behind Bob McCosh right now in top alcohol funny car competition. So I think they will stick with the tried and true combination, if you will, to run for that championship. But they did mention, Sean mentioned, that Mike could see it at a chaos race to do some testing and get things panned out with that particular combination. And when you talk about Mr. Steele, from what I understand from Brian Loans, that at Indy, he was not going to be able to qualify because they were doing some testing and some experimenting. They actually let him run up to 95% of nitro instead of 90% to get that thing to move, to get that thing to hustle under load, if you will, and to showcase that, hey, we do need this more percentage for these things to work competitively amongst the tried and true combination of blown methanol. So we're going to continue to see more of it grow and move forward. But I will say, I think any funny car right now, place to go is getting the chaos.
Hey, and you say that, Andrew, in the comments, he says, Funny Car Chaos versus Heritage Series race. I would love to see that as well, man.
I would love to see it too. Like
Man.
look, I have said it on my show. I think I've said it here. I've said it to you personally, and they want to come. They just happen to be like out of Washington and Oregon or wherever they're at, the Austins. I want that funny car so bad to show up to a chaos race, because if they show up to a chaos race and you've got like Ray Stringer there with his big block Chevy on nitro, and you got Anthony Whitfield there, Mighty Mouse with the funny car body on it, and you got a small block Chevy on nitro, and then you've got someone like a Randy Meyer with his funny car, or Alex Barker with his injected nitro Corvette, with them having a Ford motor on nitro, and you've got even Jade Cook with a centrifugal supercharger. I mean, you got like everything imaginable under the sun in funny cars at one race. Like, please.
Like you mentioned, Drew and Pat Austin, you're talking about Drew Austin and Pat Austin, obviously the legend Pat Austin. They watch Funny Car Chaos. They like Funny Car Chaos, and they want to come to Funny Car Chaos. And I know it's all logistics and stuff right there, but I know Bobby Cottrell, the 5-time Heritage Series champion, he is interested in Chaos as well. He's been talking about bringing his, I don't know if it's the green car that he's won all the championships in, but that alcohol funny car he has that he races in Sivka in. I know he would like to bring that to Chaos. So there's a lot of guys in the Heritage Series who have some interest in Funny Car Chaos racing.
for sure. There definitely is a talk. And look, bring it on, because you might have to be to particular specs to run the Heritage Series. You can run what you brung at Chaos and line
Yeah,
it up and see
they
what
all
you
got
get.
smaller fuel pumps in the Heritage Series. I think it's 21-gallon fuel pumps. I know if they put a 30-gallon fuel pump on there, they'll be hauling ass, I would think. You don't say bring it on like come bring it. Like if we come, we bringing it, all right?
I want to see it.
Heritage Series is a West Coast based series, and I tell you, if we come to Chaos, we're coming strong. I'll tell you that right now.
I want to see it. Come on.
We're coming strong. All right.
I want to see it. I want to see it.
And they're about to put on the Funny Cars about to put on a show in Bristol, Thunder Valley as well, for the Legends Nitro Funny Car deal in a couple weeks. They're going to put on a show.
Hey, before we go, we're getting toward the end of the Competition Plus Power Hour. Epping this weekend. Your thoughts going into Epping? I'm not going to make Epping this year. I'm waiting on some confirmation. I may very well be at the Norwalk Regional covering that event, but I enjoy Epping. That is such a neat place. Yes, it's an older facility. Yes, it may not be pristine, but it is a cool place to go and experience a drag race.
You know what I'm looking forward to most in Epping? No, never mind. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. Yeah, so I'm not going. You know where I'm going to. Drag Racing Central knows where I'm going to. I'm not going to go there because I don't want to get canceled. Yeah, so let's get back.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Oh, inside joke, folks. Inside joke. Sorry.
Yeah, Drag Racing Central. He knows where we're going. If you watch Inside the NHRA Sunday nights after every national event, you know what we're talking about. But yeah. So what's interesting about this race is only Top Fuel Funny Car. No, look at him. He said, "Oh no."
Hey. Mountain Motor gonna be there. Don't count them out.
Well, I'm talking about Camping World.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Camping World Series. Yeah, just Top Fuel Funny Car. No Pro Stock or Pro Stock motorcycle. Nah, I mean, let's see. Let's see how it all plays out. Tim Wilkerson, who we're supposed to have on the show here tonight, but like you said, a little under the weather, coming off that great win in Chicago, the same place where he got his first win. I'm looking forward to see if he can continue that momentum coming into going into Epping. Ron Capps, the world champion, 3-time world champ, hasn't won yet this season. I'm wondering if he can finally break through for his first win of the year. And Matt Hagan has been struggling, back-to-back first-round losses. I want to see if he can bounce back in Epping. Coming off that win after Las Vegas, he's kind of dipped off a little bit. So John Forrest, he needs a win as well. It's kind of struggle so far to start 2023. And Robert Height, been kind of little feast or famine at quickest ET of the season in Chicago, 383. So let's see if he can. I don't think we're going to see any 383s in Epping, but like I said, kind of feast or famine for Robert Height. See if he can have some consistency going into the summertime. But Funny Cars gonna be fun. And Top Fuel, man, you're number 1 and 2 points in Top Fuel. Steve Torrance and Brittany Forrest have yet to win so far in 2023. Isn't that crazy?
It's fascinating for sure. And with Steve Torrance, it continues a streak of not winning that we have not seen him in victory lane for a while now. So we're waiting on that. Brittany Force, I know they're still working out a new combination, but I think by this time you would have it worked out. Epping also is a tough track. Usually, like that first qualifying session in Epping, it's muggy, it's warm actually a lot of times, and it is challenging for the teams to tackle that track and get down that track. So it's going to be fascinating to see how they do. Also, as DRC mentions, 13 Top Fuel entered, and you have a situation we see it at Epping regularly, that someone's going to qualify and they're going to have their way to go into the semifinals rather easily. Or you're going to have a situation of a Terry Haddock taking out a Ron Capps, just barely nicking him, able to just stage it and go right into the semifinals. You have those scenarios play out at Epping. And one reason why that's the case is because Epping is a lot further away from just about everything than people realize.
Mm-hmm.
Even though
Canada,
it's
basically.
even though it's East Coast, for me, like in South Carolina, it's still 14 and a half hours to get to Epping.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long drive, and it's a long drive from Indy as well. So that's one reason why you have those situations happen. So why, for example, let's continue the theme. Why was Chicago packed in the sense of you had bump spots and cars were trying to make the field and you had cars not make the field? Well, it's right up the road from Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
That's one reason.
And one guy that I hate is not going to be in New England for the New England Nationals is Corey Lee, who drives the New Englander funny car. Obviously, I
Yes,
think they had a problem with one of his crew members, so they won't be able to make it. So that's kind of disappointing. But no, Epping is I heard it's like a great small kind of like throwback type of track. So
it is.
I've never been there. So what the heck's going on? I want to ask you a question, though, Lee. You mentioned Steve Torrance a second ago of this being a string, and I'm a Steve Torrance fan. I love the dominance that Steve Torrance put on a couple years ago. Is the dynasty over? Obviously, Top Field is madly, madly cutthroat right now. You talk about all the people who can win at Top Field so far here in 2023. You talk about Steve Torrance, 2017, when he came up short for the championship, 8 wins that season. He comes back the following season in 2018, wins 11 races, sweeps the countdown. 2019, 9 wins. Comes back in 2021, full season, 11 wins. Are these seasons of Steve Torrance winning 8, 9, 10, 11 races? Are those days over?
I want to say those days are over for everybody
because it's just so competitive.
Because it's just so competitive. Yet you've got someone like a Robert Hight in Funny Car exposing anybody saying something like that when you look at last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's very challenging to say we're not going to have that at all or anytime soon. But with Top Fuel in particular, I think dynasties for a little while may be over. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see this thrash mm-hmm. in the Top Fuel ranks because you're looking at a scenario where just about anyone who qualifies at any race, they can go out there and win.
Yeah.
I mean, the likes of obviously Clay Millican, who won the last national event, Steve Torrance, Brittany Force. You have the Coletta cars. They are capable. Have they put it together? No, but they are capable. It is out there for them. And you have a situation where even teams like a Doug Foley and Will Smith and Larry Dixon, if they can make the show and give themselves an opportunity to race, they can go rounds. It is extremely competitive. Justin Ashley, let's not forget about him. And it's wild out there. It is wild out there.
And like I said, for me, when Steve Torrance was on his run, I loved it. I'm a Steve Torrance fan, so I loved when he was dominating a couple years ago. I just want to get your opinion because, like I said, it's cutthroat out there. It is crazy. You talk about, like I said, you remember 1 and 2 points, haven't even won yet. Clay Millican has won. Clay Millican hadn't even won a round all season, and he goes out and runs all 4 bases in Chicago. So that's why I just wanted to get your opinion on that. You mentioned the Coletta cars, and we go back to this well all the time. At what point is it like it's time to put up or shut up? At what point? Because I mean, they qualify great, but at what point is it like, hey, we got to start winning some races? Because I mean, we're a year and a quarter into this Alan Johnson thing. I'm not condemning him whatsoever, but I'm saying at what point is it time? Like we got to start seeing some results and winning races.
Well, I imagine for Conrad, it was yesterday and the day before yesterday and the day before yesterday and yesterday. But I would say when you look at the nature of the sport right now,
countdown matters. Also matters.
That's what I was about to say.
All that matters is the countdown.
And look, I know these competitors, they want to win. They want to win everything. They want to be the first to leave the line. They want to be the first at the line. They want to have the best ET. They want to have the fastest mile per hour. They just want to have it all across the board when they win and go rounds and win the race and it be, a flawless victory. But the fact is, if you are playing towards championship, I think we can tell from what happened with Robert Hight last year that what matters is the countdown.
And I'll tell you what, and to take nothing away from Ron Capps, because he had a great season as well. 5 wins, won the U.S. Nationals, had a great season. So taking nothing away from Ron Capps, but it took a countdown. Because Robert Hight won 2 races in the countdown last year, and it still wasn't good enough. It took a countdown and points and a half, to take the championship away from Robert Hight. Because man, I tell you, I feel like that one hurt so much, and I know that Robert Hight wants to get this one back so badly here in 2023. I don't like the notion that the sport has come to as all that matters is the countdown. With the NBA, we've seen this. All that matters is just get to the playoffs. I can understand that because the season is so long in the NBA, injuries happen and all these things come into play. where a little meaningless game on a Tuesday night doesn't really mean anything. It's about the playoffs. But in drag racing, a national event means so much more than just a meaningless game in the NBA on Tuesday night. So I feel like I'm not saying people don't go out and win. Everybody wants to win every race they go to, but a national event just means so much. I would like to see a team really put it all together throughout a full season, not just say, hey, let's just get to the countdown. This is my opinion.
Well, the only way that is, I think, at this point going to happen, other than the sheer, hey, we want to win, and the fact of ego and the bragging rights and performing well for sponsors, is that you have got to incentivize winning and winning the regular season championship to a great extent. And that incentivizing, maybe it's more money, for being the regular season champion, or maybe it's that many points. Bo Butner, I interviewed him 2020, I believe it was, at Pomona Winter Nationals. He's in the strutmasters.com Camaro at the time, KB Racing, and he said concerning the countdown that he would like to see it the way it's done with NASCAR, that you win and you are in, and it's not based on points. Now, I'm not a big fan of changing point systems. I would rather us just stick with what we got and just let's not change it anytime soon. Granted, point systems have been changed routinely, even in drag racing over its history. That would be an interesting wrinkle. And that would certainly incentivize winning during the regular season.
I'm not saying, if I said these guys aren't trying to win a regular season, I take that back. These guys are trying their hardest, their darn hardest to win in a regular season. It's just that, I feel like there may be some teams where it's like, hey, we start off hot. We start off, the season hot. Let's go into test mode into the countdown and stuff like that. Or like a case where a team is struggling where it's like, oh, well, who cares if we're struggling? It doesn't matter until we get to the countdown. That's when we got to pick it up. As far as that winning you're in, I would like, if we do go that route, I would like to see the points format of 2007 come back where the top 8 make it and then 4 gets eliminated and the final 4 race it out, the final 2 races, something like that. Winning you're in, I'm not quite sure. I like that, but 07, I think that was the perfect points format for drag racing.
I agree. No, I agree with you there. We have never been a top 5, top 10 sport. We are the increments of 2, 4, 8, on down the line. And I wish it was top 8. And that would create interesting storylines of the bump spot, just like, Drag Racing Central has mentioned. Well, frankly, the full-time teams are already locked in by just being full-time. And not even just by the rule of you showing up and qualifying, but just they've collected the most points most of the time. If we had a top 8 scenario again in the NHRA Camping World level of Top Fuel Funny Car Pro Stock, that bump for that would be serious for many races going into the U.S. Nationals.
Yeah, I mean, have the top 8. I know there's sponsorship and stuff that comes into play and everything like that, but have the top 8, but the top 10 could still be on the stage at the award ceremony. You can still honor the top 10, but the top 8 are the one who makes the playoffs. And what's kind of crazy talking about that is Peggy Llewellyn, who made her return to NHRA Pro Style Motorcycle Racing at Joliet. She won Dallas in 07 and actually advanced to the Final Four that year. So I think that's pretty cool how that all happened. So, and great to see Peggy Llewellyn back out in the NHRA Pro Style Motorcycle as well, driving for the Slofers. I thought that was real cool to see.
That was cool. No, it was cool. It was cool. Drag racers, they can't stay away. They come back.
Can't stay away. Can't stay away.
Some way, somehow. Especially if they're ever in Nitro. Like if you ever get in Nitro, you're done. You're not leaving. You're done. I mean, some of the old men that you see in Nitro, it's like you just can't leave, can you?
Hey, Bernstein retired, right? And I know Brandon crashed, but he got back into a dragster, and then he goes one more year, and then a few years later, he's back in a funny car. Bernstein couldn't stay away either.
Can't stay away. Can't stay away.
Don Perdome was the only one who actually literally stayed away. I'm like, dang, Don Perdome didn't even try to come back. He was like, he's done. Final strike. I'm done.
Yeah, but no, remember he left and then came back with the funny car.
Yeah, true. Yeah. He's left a few times. Yeah, you're right.
He left a few times. He'd come back, and then he was car owner.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. And he took off 86 as well. I mean, I know he's driving funny car at the time, but took off 86, came back, and I know that was sponsorship issues and stuff like that. But yeah, Don Perdome has left and come back plenty of times. You're right.
Oh Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You see it plenty now with crew chiefs. Oh wow.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's
For sure.
just a drug. You can't. I don't know. It's just a
It's a
drug.
drug.
Nitro's just a
It's a
drug.
drug.
You know,
It's a drug. It's a
it's a drug.
drug.
You know,
It's
can't
a
stay
drug.
away.
It's a
Yeah.
rush for sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. Anything else concerning drag racing that we need to chat on before we shut the power hour down? Plenty going on in the world of drag racing for sure.
Nah, man, I think we covered everything. Funny car chaos, nitro chaos, NHRA at Epping, NHRA in Joliet. We talked about
Little
PRA. I think we covered it all.
PDRA.
Yeah, covered it all, man. Yeah,
A lot
like
of
it.
great drag racing again happening this weekend, folks. If you happen to be in the Knoxville area, the Southeast Gassers Association, they will be racing. That is always a great drag racing show to experience and see. Highly competitive, beautiful cars, great characters. You can see that in the Knoxville, Tennessee area. There is also the Cavalcade of Stars there at Norwalk. It functions as a regional, and you also will see Pro Mod and many other classes there as well this weekend. Epping with the NHRA national event. I believe someone chimed in that the Northeast Outlaw Pro Mod Association, they will be in competition this weekend. I believe that said Cecil, so that's Maryland. And there's so much going on in the world of drag racing. We certainly are in full tilt.
Mm-hmm. Is the Midwest Drag Racing Series still around? I haven't heard none from them in a while.
Yes, they are. Wow. Yes, they are around, and they are continuing on with their season and moving forward. But yeah, you can catch them on Flow Racing, actually.
Oh, gotcha. Just asking because I mean we talked about Bellamere earlier in the show, and I know he's done some Midwest drag racing stuff with the Bartones and everything like that, and that'd probably be another great destination to test out that new A-Fuel funny car. So, just asking.
If they're, I don't know if they are allowed in the rules at Midwest Drag Racing Series. I have to
Yeah,
check
that is
on
true.
that.
Yeah,
Not sure.
yeah,
Not sure.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
Because
Got
it's
something
just
to
a
figure
top.
out.
It's a alcohol funny car. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, got something to figure out there, though. Got something
Yeah.
to figure
Yeah.
out. Darren, man, as always, good to be on the Competition Plus Power Hour with you. Thank you to each and every one of you watching along. Again, we were supposed to have Tim Wilkerson on. He fell ill. He's under the weather, so we were not able to have him on. We are sorry for that. We'll have him on whenever we can in the future. Thank you, Chris Graves, for coming on and chatting on chaos with each and every one of us. And Chris, Darren, look. He has got some wild things on his mind, and it's interesting to hear confirmation that we can expect more chaos in even different ways.
Yeah, man, it's crazy to see, and I got to get out to one. I got to get out to a funny car chaos nitro chaos race, and hopefully in the future, let's shoot for Baton Rouge, the season finale in September. I got to get there. Put the pressure on me, Lee. Put the pressure on me.
I'll do it.
Well, thank you guys all for tuning into this episode of Competition Plus Power Hour. I believe it's episode 130. Correct me if I'm wrong, but thank you guys all for tuning in tonight. And it's 1:30. Good night, everybody.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night.